Disclaimer, do not attack me for my choices I make in this video. I'm sorry ahead of time. Overrated fragrances, that's what I'm talking about here. Again, these are my personal choices. Pretty much all the fragrances that I mentioned in this video are actually really good, but I do think they're a bit overrated. I'm going to talk about one very particular one, very popular one, which is Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel. And this is one of the most popular fragrances of all time. At least from Chanel's other fragrance, which is Chanel No. 5. Coco Mademoiselle took the world by storm a few years ago. It's still pretty popular today. Here's my take on it. It's a little bit overrated because, first of all, it's so saturated now. Every single woman has worn it at some point. So it's not, it kind of lost its touch. It's not really special anymore. It's like, oh, here's another person wearing Coco Mademoiselle. And it has some good, it's a good fragrance. I'm, putting that aside. It has some nice citrus notes, some rose, some florals, a little bit of vetiver, vanilla, that sort of thing. Very feminine, sweet, floral fragrance here. And a high quality one from Chanel. But again, it's really oversaturated, but besides that, I personally find that the scent is not all that special, because if you read the list of notes, they're pretty typical notes. You kind of find the citrus, the jasmine, the rose, vetiver, vanilla. You find those in pretty much every single fragrance that you ever smell. They're in there somewhere. So kind of combining all of these really, really basic, very typical notes into one fragrance. It's a nice fragrance because it's designed to be likable and typical. It's nothing, whoa, I'm gonna remember this until I'm 85, that sort of thing. So, again, kind of typical. Like, if I smell someone wearing Coco Mademoiselle, I'm not like, oh my god, what are you wearing? I'm like, alright, this woman is wearing Coco Mademoiselle. Okay, so this is just my opinion. So a little bit on the kind of basic side of things. Another one that I think is a little bit overrated is Angel from Mugler. So now I will say the bottle of this is pretty cool looking. It's a big star looking thing. But now I do like this one a little bit more than Coco Mademoiselle. It's a little bit more complex. However, it has a lot of notes, but it's still a little bit kind of like, nothing like fireworks, nothing like a rocket ship going into space. This is has quite a lot of notes. Very sweet. It has a cotton candy note, coconut, citrus, of course, caramel, chocolate, vanilla. This is a sugary, sweet dessert fragrance. This is hyper feminine, hyper. And again, this kind of followed the line of Coco Mademoiselle, where everyone was wearing it, and then it kind of became oversaturated, a little bit too much. Also, it's so strong and so sweet. It's a little bit cloying. It's a little bit, kind of sickly sweet on some people. So, of course, this is actually a good fragrance. I'm just saying it can become a little bit too much. It can become a little bit overwhelming. And it's definitely not one of my favorites. It kind of just has too many notes that are doing too many things. Like, every single sugary sweet note you can imagine is just plunged into this fragrance to get it as sweet as possible. And I could just dive into a bucket of frosting if I wanted to smell that sweet, It's just, you really gotta like sweetness if you want to wear this. So that's kind of my take on it. If you do like sweet fragrances, you probably wouldn't mind this. But again, a little bit oversaturated, a little bit too much, a little bit, this and that. Then, kind of in the same vein a little bit, I'm going to have to mention Baccarat Rouge 540. So, this, pretty much in the similar vein, super popular, very sweet, super feminine sort of fragrance. This was the fragrance a few years ago when it came out. It's still pretty popular. It's still kind of the luxurious feminine scent. But, again, the same problem. Oversaturation. Too many people started wearing this, and it kind of lost its touch. Now, I do actually like this, just not as much as other fragrances. It is very strong. It has a very unique sweetness. It only has 6 notes. Some of the main ones here are like ambergris, saffron, fir wood, you know, things like that. But the thing about this, it is luxurious. It is a fine French fragrance. It will last probably 10 hours. It kind of has a burnt sugar sort of smell. It is good, but most people can do a lot better. And big downside, this is really expensive. This is $300. So, you know, if it was cheaper, maybe $100, $150 maybe, it would probably be more worth it, I would say. But for what it is, at its extremely high price point, I would say it's a little bit overrated. You know, I would definitely not spend all my money on a full bottle of this, you know. I could find something more attractive on a cheaper scale. Then moving on to the next one. This one might actually get me attacked. This is La Vie Est Belle from Lancôme. Everyone loves this. Every single person I've talked to loves this. Men love it. Women love it. Everyone loves it. I don't like it that much. It is kind of on the same level as Angel from Mugler because of its sweetness. It is extremely sweet. You know, it has those same caramely, praline, sugar, dessert sort of notes and some fruit notes. This is a really good fragrance. This is long-lasting, smells good to most people, but again, you got the problem of oversaturation. It's super feminine, so lots of women are wearing this. Young women especially. It is a very modern, popular fragrance. And again, this is attractive to most people, but when everyone starts smelling like La Vie Est Belle, it kind of loses a little bit of its magic. It's a little bit, you know, it's like, here's another person wearing the exact same fragrance as that other person over there. So it kind of loses a little bit of its power. And it is a good luxury fragrance, you know, from Lancôme. But I would also say the same problem with the excessive sweetness is that it can be a little bit too much, depending on who's wearing it or where you're wearing it, you know, that sort of thing. Like, if it's too hot, you know, then it gets kind of that sickly sweet, sticky sort of scent, and it's like, a little bit too much there. But despite all of that, and despite my own opinion, again, most people enjoy La Vie Est Belle. Last one that I have, I don't dislike this one either, but this is another one where it's, this is typically a clubbing fragrance, for the most part, or like a more evening sort of fragrance. It's very heavy, has some orange blossom, woody notes, some coffee, very heavy, a little bit spicy to the nose, and I would say this is probably the least overrated out of anything on this list here, because it's not quite as oversaturated as these other ones. It still has it stands on its own a little bit. It's still very popular, but it stands out a little bit more because of its coffee note. It's more unique here. But again, it still kind of has this, like, at least for me, I feel like if something could just be tweaked, it could be so much better, you know? I don't know, but it's just, I feel like it's just a little bit too intense. Maybe if it was a little bit smoother, I think it'd be really, really good. But again, this is another one that most people really, really enjoy. So again, don't take my word as gospel here. That's pretty much all I have to say about these fragrances that I think are kind of overrated. If you have anything to say in the comments, of course you can leave your opinions in the comment section. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.